I smoothed down my simple black blazer, a custom-made Burberry that my family would mistake for mall brand as I walked into Le Cirque, New York's most exclusive restaurant. The maitre d' recognized me immediately, though he was careful not to show it. After all, discretion was why I'd bought the restaurant through one of my holding companies last year. "Your family is already seated, Miss Sullivan," he murmured. "Though they don't know you're the owner as requested." I nodded, preparing myself for another family dinner filled with thinly veiled disappointment and mockery of my career choices. To them, I was still Olivia Sullivan, the family failure who dropped out of law school to play with computers in my garage. Finally, my mother sighed as I approached the table. "We were beginning to think you couldn't afford the cab fare." My father barely looked up from his wine list, while my brother Michael and sister Catherine smirked from behind their menus. If they only knew that I could buy this restaurant's entire wine cellar without denting my net worth. "Sorry I'm late," I said quietly, taking my seat. "The startup kept me busy." "Still playing with that little app of yours?" Michael asked, adjusting his Rolex, a cheap imitation of the vintage piece currently sitting in my private collection. "What was it called again?" "Something about security." "Secure Flow," I corrected him, thinking about the revolutionary cybersecurity platform I'd built from scratch. The one that now protected 80% of Fortune 500 companies. The one that had made me a billionaire at 29. "Darling," my mother reached across the table to pat my hand condescendingly, "don't you think it's time to consider a real career? Your sister just made partner at her law firm, and Michael's investment fund is doing wonderfully." I suppressed a smile, knowing that Catherine's law firm was currently bidding for a contract with my company, and Michael's successful fund had lost half its value in the past year. "I'm happy where I am, Mom." "Happy?" Catherine scoffed. "Living in that tiny apartment working out of a garage? When was the last time you even bought new clothes?" My tiny apartment was actually the penthouse of a building I owned, and my garage was a state-of-the-art development facility employing over 300 engineers. As for my clothes, the simple outfit I wore cost more than Catherine's monthly salary. "Secure Flow is doing fine," I said mildly, checking my phone. A message from my assistant. "Forbes article goes live in 20 minutes. All major networks ready to break the story." "Fine isn't good enough for a Sullivan," my father finally spoke, his voice heavy with disapproval. "We're a family of achievers. Look at your siblings, Catherine arguing cases before the Supreme Court, Michael managing billions." If he only knew that the billions Michael managed were dwarfed by what I'd built. That Catherine's biggest case was a pro bono matter I'd anonymously funded. Speaking of achievements, Michael leaned forward. "Did you hear about the new cybersecurity contract at Preston Global? Their CEO personally asked me to handle their investment portfolio." I bit back a laugh. Preston Global was one of my largest clients. Their CEO had just signed a $500 million security upgrade with Secure Flow yesterday. "How interesting," I murmured, watching the waiter approach with our wine. "That's the difference between real business and these little tech startups," Catherine added. "Connections, prestige, actual achievements." The waiter poured an expensive Bordeaux, which my father had selected to impress the table. Little did he know I owned the vineyard. "Did you hear about the mysterious tech billionaire everyone's talking about?" Michael changed subjects. "The one who's revolutionized cybersecurity? Forbes is doing a big reveal today." My phone buzzed again. 15 minutes to article release. TV crews standing by. "Another one of those Silicon Valley types," my father waved dismissively. "Probably some college dropout playing with computers." The irony made me smile into my wine glass. "You never know, Dad. Some of those dropouts build amazing things." "Please," Catherine rolled her eyes. "Like you'd know anything about that level of success. How many users does your little app have now?" "Dozen." 20. Actually, I took a sip of wine, savoring the moment. Secure Flow has over 400 million users worldwide. They all laughed, the sound echoing through the restaurant. "Good one, Liv," Michael snorted. "Next you'll tell us you're the mystery billionaire." My phone buzzed one final time. "Forbes going live in 5 minutes. Your table's copies are ready." The pieces were in place. After years of hiding my success, of letting them believe I was struggling while I built an empire, the truth was about to come out. And I had front row seats to their realization. More wine for my successful children. My father gestured to the waiter, pointedly excluding me from the order. And perhaps some career advice for my youngest. The waiter, who knew exactly who I was, kept his face carefully neutral as he refilled their glasses. I checked my watch. 3 minutes until the Forbes article went live. You know, Catherine leaned forward, her designer bracelet catching the light. My firm is always looking for IT support staff. Not glamorous, but it's a real job. Michael snickered. Better than working from a garage. Though I hear McDonald's is hiring too. My phone discreetly vibrated. A message from my CFO. Stock price already climbing on rumors. Current valuation, $48.2 billion. Tell us more about this mysterious tech billionaire, my mother prompted Michael, clearly trying to steer the conversation away from my embarrassing career choices. I heard they're quite young. Youngest self-made billionaire in tech history, Michael confirmed, eager to show off his knowledge. Built some revolutionary security platform. Very secretive about their identity though. I smiled into my water glass. Sounds impressive. What's the company called? Secure Flow Technologies, he replied without thinking, then froze as the name registered. His eyes snapped to my face, but I kept my expression neutral. The waiter approached our table again, this time carrying several copies of Forbes magazine. Complimentary for our guests, he announced. Hot off the press. My father reached for a copy, probably expecting to see another article about Michael's investment success. Instead, he found himself staring at my face on the cover. Meet tech's youngest billionaire. Olivia Sullivan's Secure Flow Revolution. The silence that fell over the table was absolute. Catherine's fork clattered against her plate. Michael's wine glass froze halfway to his mouth. My mother's perfectly maintained composure cracked. This must be a mistake, my father stammered, flipping through the pages frantically. No mistake, I said quietly, watching their faces as smartphones around the restaurant began buzzing with the breaking news. Secure Flow Technologies, current market valuation $48.2 billion. Founder and CEO, Olivia Sullivan. But you work from a garage, Catherine whispered. A garage. I laughed softly. You mean the 12-story development center downtown? The one with 300 employees? Or perhaps you're referring to our offices in London, Tokyo, and Singapore. Michael grabbed his phone, presumably to verify the news. His face went pale as headline after headline confirmed the truth. Secure Flow so revealed. Meet the woman protecting Wall Street's billions. Tech's best kept secret. Olivia Sullivan's rise to power. How a law school dropout built a $48 billion empire. All this time, my mother's voice was barely audible. You let us believe that I was struggling? A failure. I took another sip of wine. You never asked how Secure Flow was really doing. Too busy comparing me to Catherine's law career or Michael's investment fund. Speaking of which, Michael's phone rang. Probably his office, wondering how he'd missed that his own sister was their biggest potential client. But the clothes, the apartment, your lifestyle? Catherine sputtered. My cheap blazer? Custom Burberry cost more than your monthly partner draw. My tiny apartment? I own the building. And this restaurant. I gestured around us. Bought it last year. The wine you're drinking? My vineyard. The waiter chose that moment to approach. Miss Sullivan, will you be using your private dining room this evening? Not tonight, James, I smiled. I think the main floor is perfect for this particular dinner. My father's face had turned an interesting shade of red. Why didn't you tell us? Would you have believed me? I asked. You were all so convinced I was wasting my life, playing with computers. So certain that success only looked like law firms and investment funds. My phone began buzzing incessantly, congratulatory messages from tech CEOs, interview requests from major networks, and most amusingly, a panicked text from Catherine's managing partner about their pending contract bid. All those times we tried to help you, my mother began, but I cut her off. Help me? You mean when you told everyone I was having a phase? When you lied to family friends about my temporary job? That kind of help. I pulled out my tablet, displaying Secure Flow's current stock price. While you were pitying me, I was building this. Every major bank, tech company, and government agency uses our security protocols. That little app, processes over $1 trillion in protected transactions daily. Michael was still staring at his phone, probably reading about his sister's net worth surpassing his fund's entire portfolio. But at Christmas you drove a Honda. Because I wanted to, I replied. Success isn't about showing off wealth, Michael. It's about building something meaningful. Something that changes the world. The restaurant had grown quieter. Other diners clearly eavesdropping on our conversation. Several had their phones out, probably comparing my face to the Forbes cover. Ms. Sullivan, the maitre d' approached discreetly. The Times, Wall Street Journal and CNBC are outside requesting comments. Thank you, Henri. Please ensure they respect our dining privacy. I turned back to my shell-shocked family. Now, shall we discuss how you really feel about tech startups? Catherine found her voice first. Why maintain the pretense? Why let us believe you were struggling? Because you needed to show your true colors, I said quietly. Every dismissive comment, every condescending offer of help, every time you treated me like a failure, it revealed exactly who you are. My father tried a different approach. Olivia, darling, this is wonderful news. We should celebrate as a family. Perhaps I could help you manage this sudden wealth. Sudden? I laughed. Dad, I've been a billionaire for 3 years. That little garage startup went public last year. Where do you think the mysterious donor to your hospital wing came from? Their faces registered another shock as they realized I'd been secretly supporting their projects while they mocked mine. That was you, my mother whispered. The anonymous donation to Catherine's pro bono program? And the emergency investment that saved Michael's fund last quarter? It's all me. I wanted to see if success would change how you treated people. Clearly it didn't. The waiter appeared with our main courses, each plate perfectly arranged. Compliments of the chef, Ms. Sullivan. He's prepared your usual favorites. Thank you, James. Please give Jean-Luc my regards. Michael nearly choked on his wine. You know Jean-Luc Dubois personally? Well, I did hire him, I smiled. When I bought the restaurant. The next hour was a fascinating study in human behavior. They cycled through denial, anger, attempted manipulation and finally desperate attempts to rewrite history. We always believed in you, my mother tried, her voice honey-sweet. We just wanted to ensure you reached your full potential. Like when you told the Vanderbilts I was finding myself last month. Or when you insisted I sit at the children's table at Thanksgiving because I couldn't afford to contribute to the family vacation fund. My phone buzzed again. A message from my assistant. White House called. They want to confirm tomorrow's cybersecurity briefing. I need to take this, I said, standing up. Unlike some people's careers, mine actually involves national security. Wait, Catherine grabbed my arm. The Thompson contract my firm is bidding on. That's your company? Yes. And you might want to revise your proposal. $50 million for basic encryption is rather steep, don't you think? My father tried one last time. Olivia, we're family. Surely we can discuss how to manage this situation. Manage it? I raised an eyebrow. Like you managed to exclude me from family photos last year because I didn't meet the success criteria? Or how you managed to explain away my absence at charity galas because you were embarrassed by my career? I gestured to Henri, who brought over the check. Dinners on the house, of course. Owner's privilege. But we always host family dinners, my father protested weakly. Not anymore, I replied, gathering my things. Oh, and Michael? Those Preston Global executives you're meeting tomorrow? They're coming to my office instead. Something about preferring to deal directly with the person protecting their billions. The next few weeks were entertaining to say the least. My family's attempts to rewrite history became increasingly desperate. Suddenly, they'd always supported my tech dreams. They'd always known I would succeed. Catherine's firm didn't get the contract. Michael's fund lost Preston Global's business. My parents found themselves explaining to their social circle why they'd never mentioned their daughter's success. 1 year later, I hosted another family dinner. This time in my penthouse, with its view of the Secure Flow headquarters dominating the skyline. They came, of course, humbled, cautious, finally understanding that the daughter they'd dismissed had built something greater than their narrow definition of success. Your latest security protocol is impressive, Michael offered, trying to show he'd done his research. The neural network implementation is innovative. Thank you, I replied, not mentioning that he'd mocked that same technology as a waste of time last year. More wine. It's from my newest vineyard in Bordeaux. My mother fingered her pearls nervously. Darling, about all those things we said. No need to explain, I cut her off. Your actions said everything. Pass the salt. The view from the top, I've learned, isn't about looking down on others. It's about seeing clearly who stood by you when you were climbing and who tried to knock you down. As I sat at the head of my table watching my family navigate their new reality, I thought about success and its many definitions. They had chosen the obvious paths: law, finance, social status. I had chosen to build something revolutionary, something that changed how the world handled its most sensitive information. And yes, I still drive that Honda. Because true power isn't about showing off wealth. It's about knowing exactly what you're worth, even when others don't. The Forbes magazine still sits on my office wall, next to the first server I built in that garage. A reminder that sometimes the best revenge isn't in proving others wrong, it's in proving yourself right. And sometimes the sweetest success isn't in the billions you make. It's in watching those who doubted you choke on their expensive wine. I looked out over the city skyline from my penthouse office, the lights of Secure Flow's buildings twinkling like stars. My phone buzzed with another message, the White House cybersecurity team requesting an urgent consultation. Miss Sullivan, my assistant called through the intercom, your family is in the lobby. They're asking about the annual charity gala seats. I smiled, remembering last year's gala where they'd been relegated to the general admission section while I sat at the head table with world leaders and tech giants. Tell them all donations are being handled through the Secure Flow Foundation now. They can apply online like everyone else. It's funny how life comes full circle. The daughter they'd tried to hide had become someone they couldn't stop talking about. The garage startup they'd mocked had transformed into an empire they couldn't ignore. And the family failure had become the success story they desperately wanted to claim. But success, real success, isn't about proving your worth to others. It's about building something that matters, something that lasts. And sometimes the best part isn't the billions in your bank account. It's the knowledge that every dismissive word, every condescending smile, every attempt to diminish your dreams only fueled your determination to succeed. I picked up my old laptop, the one I'd used to write Secure Flow's first code, and smiled. Some people need fancy cars and designer labels to feel successful. I just needed a computer, a vision, and the satisfaction of proving that sometimes the biggest dreams start in the smallest garages.